How you doing? It's Sandesh here, and we do a video or an article on spikedonline.com. It's an opinion piece. Um, I think I sort of heard about this, but I didn't really know about it. I looked up, anyway, the article is called Kirstie Allsopp was right to let her teen son go interrailing. I looked up what interrailing was because I did not understand it. It sounds stupid, I know. And when I looked up about it, and I was like, I don't understand. I don't understand what the problem is. I'll get into my thoughts about the article. Anyway, if you could follow me on X and subscribe on YouTube, Rumble, Odyssey, TikTok, and BitChute as well, if you don't mind, please. I'm going to get into the article now. Television presenter Kirstie Allsopp made headlines this week after she was contacted by social services about her parenting. Apparently, someone had made a referral and the file had been opened on her. So, what form of abuse was Alsop accused of? How did she neglect her children to such an extent that the authorities got involved? All she did was let her 15-year-old son travel around Europe by interrail during the summer with a friend. Clearly, this was not something Alsop had tried to hide. In fact, she posted on X about how proud she was of her son doing the whole trip by himself, noting how important it is to let kids be independent. She tagged US academic Jonathan and Haid and author Lenore Skenazy, both popular advocates of the free range approach to raising children. In a time when teenagers are brought up under constant parental supervision, Alsop's post predictability generated a huge discussion on social media about whether her son was too young for the trip. She expected that to be the end of it, but then, in a sinister twist, a social worker from her local council, the Borough of Kensington and Chelsea, contacted her after receiving a referral. In an interview with Daily Mail, she described how the council wanted to know what safeguards were put in place while he was on holiday. She was also warned that a file would be kept on her family in case any other complaints were lodged. And also was understandably outraged by this absurd state of overreach. I just felt sick, she told the Mail. It was just extraordinary. I was in a parallel universe where they were actually taking this seriously. The whole situation is indeed deeply troubling. Why would a government employee felt compelled to intrude so gratuitously into a private family situation, seemingly just because it generated some mild online controversy? Especially given that the boy in question, Oscar Anderson, was just about to turn 16, where he would illegally be able to leave home if he wanted to. This fuss over a 15-year-old's interrail holiday just shows just how little freedom children have these days. This is particularly true in comparison with their parents, who are pretty much roamed free in the 70s and 80s. This is precisely why Haddock's most recent book, The Anxious Generation, is resonating with so much with the newer generation of parenting. It argues that a combination of helicopter parenting and endless smartphone use is causing huge distress to youngsters as they grow up. Inspired by his ideas, Sunday Times chief interviewer and Decca Atkinhead recently wrote about how she made her teenage boys go without their mobile phones for long periods of time. She also let her 14-year-old son go on camping trip on his own with some friends, which they loved. They even claimed not to have missed their phones at all. See, the thing is, yeah, I like this kind of parenting, but the thing is, it comes down to the parents on how they, on on how they teach their children, like responsibility and that, and if they teach them, on being young adults and how to be responsible. Now, if the kids are fantastic and they know how to be responsible with that, and then this sort of thing, yeah. But and now as far as taking away their phones, so the thing is they won't be so attached to their phones, right? No, it's just such a fantastic idea, and the fact that the kids like the idea of going camping, and they didn't have their phones with them. That's just a brilliant idea. That honestly takes me back when I was a little kid, to be honest. It might be that phones are not so much the problem for youngsters as the lack of freedom they now enjoy. Perhaps instead of age restricting or banning smartphones, as some have suggested, banning smartphones is not good. Banning smartphones or age restricting smartphones is just not going to work. It's just not going to work at all. Banning anything it won't work. If anything, we should actually teach and encourage kids about, like, the positives about not having to have your phone on you all the time and not having to rely on your phone all the time. We should allow children to explore the world outside their screens. Our adolescent years tend to be where we were the most open to new experiences. Developmental psychologist Alison Gopnik has written extensively about how vital play and exploration is for the growth and development of children and teenagers. In her book, The Gardener and the Carpenter, she writes that adolescence is a time when humans have an extraordinary appetite for risk and experiment, taking such risks as a natural part of the transition from childhood to adulthood. What all this suggests is that there is a cost to overprotecting children. It really is. If you coddle your children so much, wrapping them up in cotton wool, and then the thing is that you're not really preparing them for adult life, and when they cannot be coddled when they're adults, because they're going to end your children are going to end up being adults. You can't coddle them forever. You gotta it's all about teaching them how to be responsible. And teaching them to be responsible when they're kids is when you're supposed to do it, but you got to do it in the right way. And what this all suggests is that there is a cost to overprotecting children, by not allowing them to have formative experiences with their peers, parents, and wider society is stunting their growth and development. I mean, I mean, I mean, going camping and and going back to nature for a bit. That's such a really good idea. Though I remember when I used to go and camping when I was at school, I really liked it. The wisdom gleaned from our coming of age experiences have endlessly documented in iconic literature over the centuries, such as Alcott's Little Women or Dickens' Great Expectations. This is apparently something we have recently forgotten. Yeah. There was a 90s nostalgia meme that did the rounds on the social media a few years ago. It pictured a pile of BMX bikes left on a suburban driveway with the caption, "Before mobile phones and Facebook, this is how we knew where our friends were." Yes, 100%. Because the thing is, right. I remember a time where there would be loads of kids on their bikes, and they'll be just hanging out with their mates, man. I mean, that was my childhood. It was a scene even a millennial like me instantly recognized from my early teenage years. Mobile phones were on the market at the time, but they were pretty basic. They were mainly used for calling, texting, and playing Snake. Yeah, yeah, but yeah, phones at the time, and yeah, and they were basic. But the thing is, kids wanted to interact with one another. If, if physically, they physically wanted to interact with one another and fucking actually, go outside and play and that. Um, Back then, our friends didn't always know exactly where we were, neither did our parents. For most of the weekends and holidays, teenagers were off the parental radar. It felt completely natural for us to enjoy that kind of freedom. Only now, as an adult and mother myself, do I realize I'm obviously reading someone else's words. How much letting go our parents had to do. They were likely very aware that we weren't always completely honest about who we were with and what we were up to. While our families may have worried about us when we were gone, we didn't think about them that much at all. We relished the time on our own. It was all a part. It was all part of growing up. There's nothing neglectful or irresponsible about giving children the freedom to do that. In fact, I dare say it would be more dangerous not to. Yeah, my childhood, I miss that sort, I miss that sort of thing of going outside and being with my friends. And going camping and stuff like that, and not having your phone on you. I'll never get that. I'll never get those memories back. But you know what? I'm kind of glad I lived at a time where that that was the typical that was the typical way of how kids were brought up, and I'll always cherish that, to be honest. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. Please like, comment, subscribe on this video, and if you could follow me on X, and subscribe on YouTube, Rumble, Odyssey, TikTok, and BitChute as well, if you don't mind, please. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.